First thing, jack it up, take the wheel off. So next, the trailing arm is attached to the upper control arm by this bolt right here. A lot of the times what happens is the bushing will seize to the bolt, and when you try to turn the bolt, the bushing is holding on to it and it's a real pain in the ass. So I'm going to take off these two bolts instead. 14 millimeter. Next we have the bolt for the lower control arm, also a 14 millimeter. Next is the bolt that holds on the e-brake. It is a 12. Next are the two bolts holding on the trailing arm bushing here and here. They're 17 millimeter. So we're gonna be moving around the trailing arm a lot, and one thing you want to make sure of is that you don't want to stress out this brake hose or the line. So keep in mind of the brake lines because they're going to be moving around with the trailing arm. In fact, I'm even using a jack to hold up the trailing arms just so it doesn't fall too low. Okay, this right here is our trailing arm bushing, and what we're going to do now is we're going to take a piece of wood and we're going to jam it back behind the trailing arm so that this thing will come down more, because it's kind of being held up by spring pressure. You can see the arm come down. And keep in mind of the brake hose. You don't want to put excessive stress on it. That should be enough. What we're going to do now, and this is the most annoying part, there is a special tool to hit out this bushing. Or it's a press rather. But what I'm gonna do, because I don't want to buy a special tool, is get a big old hammer. And I got this extension. You're gonna mushroom out the top of the extension by hitting it so much. You can see that right there. But you can always grind that off later. So what I'm gonna do is just put the extension on here, then smack the back of this extension, go back and forth. Maybe a couple smacks here, and then move over here. Keep going back and forth. And you will be at this an extremely long time. This took me over an hour of hammering to get the other one out. Sometimes they come out easier. This car is being a pain, but if you just be persistent, it'll come out, and be patient. Otherwise, you can go spend over 200 bucks, buy the special tool, and get it out in a couple seconds. So that's all up to you. So I'm gonna just keep smacking this very hard until it comes out. But you don't have to watch all that because I'm gonna edit it all out. Before I start this journey of trying to smack this out, it's best to get long, powerful strikes rather than short, small ones. And I like to turn the hammer and hit it like this sideways so I don't miss and hit my hand. But just keep at it and it will come out. Also, the bottom part of this bushing should be flush with the trailing arm. And there's a little arrow that faces down. When you put the new one in, make sure the arrow's facing down. When you put it in, make sure this bottom part is flush. This one's coming out a lot easier. There we go. There it is. we make sure the arrow is facing down. Stick the new one in there. Make sure it's facing up and down. We want this thing to be horizontal with the trailing arm. And okay. It goes in a lot easier than it comes out. You don't even need to hit it that hard. We want to make sure this gets flush with the bottom. And a little bit more. There we go. So now let's take out our piece of wood and we're going to lift this back onto the control arms. Ow. So now, while we're lifting this up, we're going to attach the upper control arm bolts. We're just going to keep them in finger tight for now until we get all the bolts in. So next we have this parking brake cable. If you're wondering why I even took this off, it's because I think it lets me have a little bit more mobility when I'm moving the trailing arm around. But you could certainly try to put it, you could certainly try to do this job without taking this off. But it's just one little bolt. This one I am going to tighten all the way. Okay. Okay, we put the trailing arm bushing bolts back in. These ones I am going to tighten fully before, because this area doesn't really move around that much. Okay, now we're going to jack the lower control arm up into the spindle assembly. A little wiggling, it'll get in there. Put our through bolt in there. This is the last bolt we got to put in there. So, I'm going to tighten this guy up. Then I'm going to go up top, tighten the control arm bolts. Okay, now let's just put the tire on. That's all there is to it, guys. Thanks for watching.